This is according to Tech Yes City. Nvidia is supposedly starting up production again of GP107 GPUs. So this is the GPU found in the GTX 1050 Ti. And it makes sense because Nvidia for a long time now has launched their new architectures top to bottom. So they've led with the highest margin, highest selling price SKUs. And the thing is that when we're talking about, a GPU that's produced on a new manufacturing process, so like on a new node, in this case, these are, what are they? Samsung's 12 nanometer, if I recall correctly. No, 8 nanometer or whatever. Samsung, however many nanometer. You'll have to pardon me. I can only keep so many things in my brain at a time. 10 nanometer. Thank you, Google. So Samsung's 10 nanometer, Ampere is, did I just search for Turing? Ampere, I think it's 8. I thought it was 8. It is 8. Oh, perfect. Okay, Ampere. So here's the thing. When you're making like a GA, what is it? GA100 or GA101, 102? I think it's GA102, which would be what you find in an RTX 3080 or a 3090. GA102 GPU. I'm just going to double check these things. GA102, blah, 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 Ampere, blah, 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 GA102. It doesn't say what graphics cards it's found in. 3080, 3090. Yeah, okay, cool. So a GA102. Basically, you've got this wafer, okay? So it's a circle-shaped silicon wafer, and then you've got this GPU that's, let's say this big or whatever. And you got to go, you can only create so many of them out of each wafer. Okay, so the limitation, what keeps you from making a larger and larger chip is A, getting the timing right for the signals within the chip once it starts getting physically large can be very challenging. And then number two, on that silicon wafer, you're going to have some percentage of, or you're going to have some incidence of like defects. So you could have like a defect here and a defect here and there and there. And, sometimes that's going to be like, oh, we've got a defect right in the middle of these CUDA cores. Well, that's fine. Let's just turn this into a SKU that has fewer CUDA cores. So for example, an RTX 3090 has more than an RTX 3080, so you could like turn some of them off if they're defective. Now it's a 3080 instead of being a 3090 or whatever the case may be. So you've got these defects, right? And the way that it works is in order to make a cheaper GPU, you have smaller dies, so you have like fewer CUDA cores, but you can make more of them. Okay, so here's the problem. Nvidia could roll out, I'm sure that they have 50 class GPUs designed with their Ampere architecture. But the problem is that if they can't get enough of these wafers, and if the yields are good enough on their high-priced products that they can utilize the wafer extremely efficiently with a high-priced product, there is no reason for them to release these. Now, what we know, based on that they did discontinue production of their previous generation GPUs, is that their intention was to have enough supply with new silicon. Clearly, they don't. Not only can they not supply enough Ampere, they can't apparently supply enough Turing. So they're going all the way back to Pascal. Now, Volta only like sort of existed. It was like, I don't even know how many SKU. I don't think there was only like one consumer SKU. It was like a Titan V or something like that. Other than that, I think Volta basically only existed in the data center. But they're going all the way back to Turing to serve the lower end kind of like esports grade machines. I would call it Titan like a mainstream gaming rig.
Titan V and a Quadro card.
And there was a Quadro card. All right, thank you. Thank you for saving me from myself. The funny thing though is that apparently gamers think it's a great idea to bring back, let me see if I can click for more information. Apparently gamers think it's a great idea to bring back the 1050 Ti because it happens to be one of the most popular graphic cards of all time. So 7%, hold on a second. Yeah, 7% of all gamers on Steam are running a 1050 Ti and apparently think that's just fine because they're clearly not upgrading. Not that there's anything they could upgrade to. You know what's really interesting about that number and about the 1050 Ti in general is we are doing an average Steam gaming machine video that's coming out this weekend. So we built the most average possible gaming machine. We ended up with a 1060 because it slightly edged out the 1050 Ti. And we looked at, okay, how good is the gaming experience of the average Steam gamer. You know what? The answer is pretty darn good. So I think this is a great move from Nvidia, bringing back something for people to buy, because
I was gonna say just producing more stuff. Sounds good.
Just anything. So 1050 Ti was, was that a 12 nanometer? How many nanometers was the 1050 Ti? 14 nanometer. Dang, this thing launched in October 2016. That was 4.5 years ago. I mean, it was a great card. It's still a solid card. It doesn't have any ray tracing or anything. That was another funny one, especially in light of that stupid letter that Nvidia sent and then retracted to Hardware Unboxed about how gamers have embraced RTX. When we were working on our Steam hardware survey machine, it was pretty interesting how embraced RTX is. So the top RTX card, the 2060, has 3.72% of gaming machines to call its home. And the RTX 2060, I mean, I'm with Hardware Unboxed on this. The problem with RTX is that the most popular RTX cards are not capable of running games with RTX enabled. The 2060 is, from a real-time ray tracing perspective, just shouldn't exist. It should just be a GTX card with more CUDA cores and just not bother with the RTX-ness. That would have been a more compelling product that would have prompted more people to upgrade. And then next up, we've got the 2070 Super, which I would argue is actually RTX capable at 1080. But that's got just 2.3% of gamers are running.
And I suspect not a lot of people are trying to run like cranked 1080 with RTX.
No, I would say most people that are buying a 70 and up class card are probably running 1440 or better. I do wish that Valve would give a little bit more granular insight into, you know, what kinds of, like if you clicked on a GPU, I'd love to know more about what kind of system that person's running.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I don't know. I think Valve has enough buckets of money that they don't need to get into the business of becoming like an industry, you know, industry analysis provider, like information,
especially when they're doing it for free.
Yeah,
I wonder if they might even just have that. I don't want to say this necessarily, but I have no idea, and there's probably a very provable way to say this is false, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they had more information like that.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
It just wasn't public.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way
they probably have deeper stats, but they just publish some of it to make it interesting.
Yeah,
and to make people want to contribute to the information pool.
It's like the smartest thing ever because it throws them into the news cycle every month. Every month.
And then people are like, oh, I should register my rig.
Oh, like yeah, Valve. Yeah. They exist. Steam. I should get Steam because all gamers have Steam, like, or something.